Hi, and welcome back to the Count to 10 podcast. My name is Simon Sanborn. I'm a behavior-focused teacher, and I try to share some ideas in this podcast about how to cope with behaviors, understand behaviors, kind of see how we all communicate as human beings, and see if we can find some answers as to how we can go about communicating the best way possible and the most efficient way possible. So I always try to give a couple tidbits here and there for teachers or parents or grandparents or guardians, that kind of thing when it comes to behaviors. So one thing it's hard to kind of help children conceptualize is that our thoughts are not us, right? We are not our thoughts. It's a pretty famous quote by Eckhart Tolle. So the things that pop in our head, there's a reason why they happen, right? They're trying to keep us safe. They're trying to keep us aware. They're trying to keep us looking ahead, being proactive, kind of in a way, kind of an unconscious way. So our thoughts do run a lot of our lives, which is why I'm such a huge proponent of meditation, because meditation doesn't stop you from having thoughts. It'd be almost impossible, but it helps you kind of regulate that. So if you are having, kind of spiral out kind of emotional things happening because you are thinking so much about things, it's something to be aware of, because you really do have some control of that. So it's a little bit harder for children though, because it's hard for them to conceptualize the idea of what I'm thinking is not me thinking, it's my brain. So teaching them how to kind of be able to stand back and have like a balcony view of themselves and see themselves in a different way can be beneficial. And part of it for me is that it's so important because thoughts control emotions, right? Any one of us can say, I start thinking about my grandfather who passed away. I might get sad. I might get sad because I miss him. I might get sad because I don't get to run things by him as being a person and getting older and how he coped with different things that life threw at him. And that might take me down a notch. I might be kind of saddened by that. That's a thought that controls emotion. So when we can step back and look at our thoughts and see them for what they are, it can help us regulate that emotion. So I'm a big fan of that "You Are Not Your Thoughts" by Eckhart Tolle. My oldest son said when he read that, it was like a aha moment for him that, oh boy, so all the things that I think all the time aren't me thinking, it's just my brain kind of cycling through things. And if I become aware of that, I can control it and stop it, or just be more aware. So helping kids kind of understand what thoughts are can be tough. And for adults, it's important to understand that so that you can know that you don't have to be so reactionary. Right now I'm talking about being proactive, habit 1 of the 7 habits of highly effective kids that we're doing, the Leader in Me for my school. And we've been talking about proactive language, and that language of I can do this, right? Some people call it like a growth mindset. I can do these things. I can pull this off. I have the grit to do it. I know I need to work hard and I can find an answer, that kind of thing. So this proactive kind of way of being is pretty relevant to this too. I have to be aware of the things that are going through my mind all the time. So if I'm a teacher and I'm in class and I'm thinking about the next lesson that I didn't understand quite so well because the curriculum was new, but I know I have to teach it coming up and I'm unsure about that. And so I'm starting to worry about it. I'm starting to think about the things I don't know, how the kids are going to interpret it or not interpret it. That's going to start gaining some steam, and I'm going to have some anxiety about that. So being aware of those thoughts, or when you have those thoughts, go, okay, yes, I'm uncertain. It's a brand new thing. It's supposed to be uncomfortable. I know I can get through this. I know I'll work out the kinks in time. I know if the kids miss something that I should have said, I'll go back and reiterate, I got this. So it's just being aware of those thoughts that you can physically stop them, and you can be more intentional about what you say to yourself. And part of that kind of goes back to what I talked about in my last podcast, which is you got to be able to let things go for you. You're not a horrible bad teacher because you might have missed a piece of something. You're not a horrible, terrible teacher because you have a group of kids who are really struggling with fractions. These things don't have to have this connotation attached to them so that you feel horrible because you're a human being and you're learning something new. I'm in grad school right now myself, and I am truly and completely overwhelmed by all the things that I have to do and the understanding that I'm supposed to be getting from these classes. And they're wonderful classes. I'm really enjoying them, but the the amount of work is kind of is overwhelming. But so I have to be aware of that in my thinking. I sent an email to a friend today that was just kind of like venting, saying, I think I might have got in too deep here. I think I bit off more than I could chew. I'm feeling very uncertain and very uncomfortable. And that kind of thing helps, writing things down, journaling, having somebody you can reach out to. He's a gentleman that I know that's also part of the program I'm in. So I have to find some outlets. Otherwise, I will ruminate and I will sit at home. And as I'm reading and trying to get caught up on things and understand concepts, in the back of my mind, I'm worrying, right? So me being aware of those thoughts and being intentional about them and saying, I got this, we can do this, buckle down, put things in place, systems in place to be successful. So I try to do that same thing with my students because they very often get overwhelmed. Behavior is a difficult thing to manage throughout your day when you react to things strongly and you don't know why. But that's my job. That's why I'm here. I hope to help them gain some tools and gain some understanding of themselves so they can be feel good. I have students when they have big behavioral outbursts. After they've de-escalated, I talk about why it's so important, or ask them, why do you think it's so important for me to get you to understand this? And I'm trying to get the answer to come back. It's because you care about me, right? I care about them. Having those big explosions do not feel good. It doesn't feel good to feel out of control. It doesn't feel good to feel like you don't know anything and that you're dumb. Those feelings are terrible to have. And once you start to kind of wrap your head around that, I don't have to feel that way. I can feel that way, but I can recognize where it comes from. And so helping them gain understanding of themselves goes a long way. So one tool that I thought I would share with you before I get done is from Daniel Siegel, right? My favorite behavior, child-focused kind of guru, so to speak. He had one that he called Let the Clouds of Emotion Roll By. So helping children or anybody realize that when we're having big emotions, we can sit back in those big emotions and let them roll by. We do not have to be reactive to them. It's another part of that leader in me thing about reactive and proactive language, reactive and proactive ways of thinking about things. So we can let these big emotions roll by and we can just ride them out together and start figuring out that the thoughts that I'm having are increasing those emotional roller coasters that I find myself on. So it's really important that you find ways to help them recognize that, because kids don't always know that emotions are temporary, right? Emotions and feelings and thoughts sometimes can feel like this is it. This is the worst thing I've ever experienced, and this is the worst thing for me in this moment, and nobody understands it like I do. And that's very real for them. So helping them kind of understand what's happening and not dismissing what's going on. So again, another part of this from Dr. Steele was, not Daniel Steele, that's an author. That's funny. What's Daniel Siegel? Oh my God, it's hilarious. You can tell I've been sleeping less and reading more. So Daniel Siegel, great doctor. And so he talks about helping students or kids understand that these emotions can roll by, but that us dismissing them or saying, oh, it'll be okay, or oh, hey, don't worry about that, tomorrow you'll be able to finish that project, or oh, hey, don't worry about that. That's dismissing it. And that does not go to the point or the directness of what is causing this emotional turmoil that's going on. So, boy, I'm really sorry you feel like that. That's gotta be scary. Would you like, what do you think are some things that would make you feel better? Would you like to lay down in your bed and rest for a little bit? Would you like me to get you a drink of water? What can I do to kind of help you get past this thing? And then we can move on from there. So once we get that lower brain kind of under control and our lid's not flipped for any reason, we then can start thinking about things, processing, problem solving, that kind of thing. So, don't discuss something and then dismiss it. Make sure that you make them be more aware of how they're feeling. Wow, it sounds really scary. Yeah, I'm feeling really scared right now. Okay, well, I'm glad you're able to recognize that you're scared. Let's see if we can find a way to cool down, or let's find, do you want to go for a walk? Do you want to go, pet your dog for a while? What would make you feel better, so then we can then get to solving the problem. All right, everybody, that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this. It always surprises me to see the people that listen and or watch it on YouTube. So if you have any questions or concerns, please reach out to me. My name is Simon, Symon, Sanborn, Sanborn, @gmail.com. Send me an email, send me questions, send me concerns, send me ideas, send me tools, things that you know about that I can share. I love handing information to parents, teachers, students, anybody that could use it. So this podcast is really kind of about sharing information. One of my goals is to actually have a conversation with Dr. Siegel about how he got into this field, how he, what he feels like, how things have changed, how behaviors are better understood, how people are parenting differently than they used to because we have so much more understanding of the brain and how children brains develop. So, I have lots of hopes for this, but at the same time, I just want to be able to share information. So don't troll me. Don't give me a hard time. If you got constructive criticism, please always take that. But just do me a favor and just be kind and thoughtful. So that's what I teach my students, and I try to get across to the people that I interact with, is that this world can be a pretty tough place, and it can be really crappy at times, but how we choose to communicate with each other and treat each other is absolutely completely up to us. And if we put our brains and our thoughts towards it, we can interact in a much more positive, thoughtful, and caring way, which is kind of my goal. So thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful night, a wonderful weekend. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other.